All right, guys, I'm absent today, so we're going to do a video lesson for the second half of 8.6 lesson. Today we are factoring things that have leading coefficients that are kind of in common. If you look at the example for today and the process to factor, the first one says if you can factor something out first, you should do it. The example given is 7x squared, 49x, and 35. If you guys notice that each term has a factor of 7, 7x, 49x, 35, which means that we can rewrite the expression by dividing that 7 out. This is kind of a throwback from section 2. So we would write that as 7 multiplied by x squared plus 7x and then plus 5. And then we would go through our process of factoring this expression instead of factoring this big long expression with the 7, 49, and 35. Things just get messy when you try and do it that way. So we're going to work on a couple different expressions. We're going to do 2 different examples, and that'll be it for today. You guys have some opportunity to practice it after we're done. So example number 1, factor this trinomial into 2 binomials. Think to yourselves, our coefficients, which is the number in front of the variable, are 8, 34, and 30. I know that since each of them are even numbers, 8, 34, and 30, that 2 must go in there. The other option that I think of initially is 4, but I don't think that 4 goes into 34 or 30 evenly. So I'm going to go with the number 2. So I'm going to factor out 2, pull it up front, write the expression as 2 multiplied by, well, 8 over 2 is 4x squared. 34 over 2 is 17x. And then 30 over 2 is minus 15. And all this is going to do is make for an easier expression to actually go through that slide, divide, and reduce, and go bottoms up method. So I'm going to slide my 4 with my 15, and I'm going to start factoring the thing that's inside the parentheses. That's going to get me 2 multiplied by x squared plus 17x minus 4 times 15, which is 60. Now I can perform my x method with that expression itself. I need something that multiplies to negative 60, that adds to positive 17. Upon a couple guess and check methods, I stumbled upon the fact that 3 and 20 would work, and since it's negative, one of them's got to be a positive number. So I think positive 20 and negative 3 work for that expression to kind of complete the x puzzle. So that means my expression reads 2 multiplied by the expression x plus 20 times x minus 3. If you guys remember from previous lessons, the next step would be to divide by what we slide. We would divide by 4, divide this by 4, divide this by 4. Since one of those fractions can simplify down and the other one can't, we would go bottoms up with the 3 over 4, and we would simplify the 20 over 4. So the expression would be 2 multiplied by x plus 5. That's one of ours. And then since this one, we're going to go bottoms up with it, we will have 4x minus 3. Now remember, the process of checking our answers is to FOIL it. I'm just going to do that quick. X times 4x is 4x to the second power. X times negative 3 is negative 3x. 5 times 4x is positive 20x. And then 5 times negative 3 is negative 15. Kind of losing space here. Middle terms would combine, and we get 4x squared plus 17x minus 15. And since that's not what we started with, we look back to the original expression. We're thinking to ourselves, did we do something wrong? But no, there still is that factor of 2 that we need to consider, which basically means every coefficient gets doubled, which would get us to 8x squared plus 17x, or excuse me, 34x. Mistake there. 34x, and then minus 30. So it all checks out, all pans out. All right, let's try one more expression, see if we can simplify it the same way. Notice in this one, we got different coefficients, 20, 45, and 10. So be thinking to yourself right now, what goes into both 20, 45, and 10. 2 does, 4 I don't think does, but 5 for sure does, since all the numbers end in either a 0 or a 5. So I'm going to try and factor out the 5, divide everything by 5, and pull it out front. Again, this is throwback from section 2. We got 5, and then multiplied by the new expression. 20 over 5 is 4x to the second power. 45 over 5 is minus 9. That was supposed to be an x. 9x. And then plus 10 over 5, which is plus 2. Now, we're all set up. We got to slide the 4 with the 2. We get x squared minus 9x plus 8. With the 5 out front, we go x method on that. We need something that multiplies to 8, that adds to a negative 9. See here, it could be two negative numbers. I'm thinking negative and a negative, and I want to say 1 and 8 will work nicely for that. So we'll go x minus 1, and x minus 8 is the factored form of the expression here. With the 5 out front, don't forget about the 5. Next step would be to divide by what we slide. Since we slide the 4 over, we're going to divide by 4 here, divide by 4. One of the fractions can be reduced, one of them can't, so we're just writing it out as 5 multiplied by, well, 1/4. We go bottoms up with the 4, bring that out front, 4x minus 1. And then our second factor is just going to be our x minus 2. In the interest of time, I'm not going to FOIL this one. Hopefully you guys can trust me that we've factored it correctly. All right. This is now my answer. 5 multiplied by 4x minus 1, and then x minus 2. Remember that this process is no different than what we worked on yesterday. It just includes that initial step where you have to divide something out of each coefficient before we can start factoring. All right. Hope this video was helpful. Have a good day, guys.